landscape of which I was very familiar changed so dramatically. And for me, I'm incredibly grateful for everything that's being done here, because we've lived with the dust from the tailings, we've lived with all of the impact of the early mining for a long time. So to see the landscape becoming more natural, see this valley beginning to recover is a real gift. You know, and we know you can't put the heart back in the mountain when you've taken the heart out, you know, as was done with the early mining, but to see the ways in which some very good people and some wonderful minds have come together to put together what's happening now is a pleasure. So it's kind of a fun time to be here, to be seeing this kind of transformation.
We're going to seal the mine so nobody else can enter the mine, you know, because it is dangerous. And we're doing a lot of dewatering right now in the main portal. Right now we're working in the ventilator where the fan used to sit back in 1958 when it actually shut down. And we're actually going, that's where the cave-in is. And that's where we're trying to attack right now and trying to establish better ground so we can actually put the bulkhead in. Still minerals are coming out of the mine. And we got a discharge line. We distracted a 12-inch line that was already existing there. And now we just put a 8-inch line coming out so we can pump out the water, so we can actually eliminate water coming out of the mine itself, but only in the discharge line. So then they're going to filter that water and then put it back in the river, process it. We're trying to stop everything from going into the river itself. That's what our goal is trying to stop any kind of water that's coming from the mine without being processed. We're going to eliminate that. It'll be filtering for forever, you know. As long as that pipe is going to be existing, and they're still going to be filtering that water.
Obviously the biggest thing to a lot of us is the mill structure coming down. Was our biggest landmark here, and how people have reacted to that has been pretty interesting because it is a symbol of the valley and kind of wraps up our entire history here. That's, you know, it's the symbol of why all of this is even here. And yeah, just kind of coming to grips with the fact that there won't be that big structure there anymore, and it'll just be a hillside now, and it'll be interesting to see people come back here after having been away for a while and knowing that it's not there anymore. Just being able to watch it, first of all, actually come down was pretty incredible.
I don't think No, well, no, you got to pull it into that then.
That just changed the view from Jelly Night. Hey, you don't know that. It might be word.
Our boat is made by ACV boats, aluminum chambered boats. There are 8 chambers under us at this point in time, so if one or even several were to be breached, would not be a life-threatening situation. Have 2 power plants and fueling systems back there. If one were to fail for one reason or the other one would get us to where we're going.
(8301) is a main road that from Lucerne to Holden Village, where transport or any kind of vehicle travels on to get to and from or even to East Bypass. 12 miles, about 12 miles, if that, yeah, about there. How did I end up here? You know, I didn't even know this place even existed. I lived in Washington for 16 years. And I found out about this job. They said, oh, hey, you want to do traffic control or flagging? And I was like, okay, flagging, no problem. As soon as we landed up here at Lucerne, I'm like, okay, what's going on? What's happening? We take that windy road, it's called the Switchbacks. And I'm like, okay, where are we headed now? Going up, we see wildlife. I'm like, all right, I can do this. Then all of a sudden, this thing just opens up to the village. You see little cottages and stuff. So I thought it was just a pit stop. I didn't know it was an actual place that we're gonna be staying. But, you know, living in Seattle, coming from Hawaii, this place is actually really nice and pretty during the summertime. And during the winter, it's gonna be awesome. It's just cold.
I'm excited to just think that this valley will be closer. It can never be restored, but it will be closer to what it was at the beginning. I think just to see our village looking as it has always looked, which is important to people, but at the same time the internal structure, and this has given us an opportunity we wouldn't have had to do the capital improvements that have much needed to be done. So to continue, so to think of our village looking, basically carrying on the kind of ministry, the kind of program we've always done, but with a much more solid foundation, with buildings, with the landscape, with everything being improved in ways that many people coming here won't even be aware of in terms of internally in the village, but they will certainly be aware that the tailing piles will have a very different look, and that the old mine structure is gone, which is controversial to some in the broader community, but I think everybody will adjust and just be glad to see how the valley feels healthier, it feels more natural. That's what I would like to see. The water pure, there's, to see it come back, to see what can be done.
It started about 5 weeks ago. I was in Lucerne twice a day, so we saw the fire start up in Wolverine Creek way up high in the basin until we could see even from here that it was burning down to the lake level. And so on Friday, August 1st was it, we picked up 45 people on the Lady Cat, and then the next day we were going to come up at 5 in the morning, and they called us and said no, the road was closed. The fire had swept through that night, and it had exposed the bare ground. So much smoke all the way to the town of Chelan that we were navigating just by following.